Hey folks, Jimmy here, aka Palette of the Dead. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the newest issue of Warhammer 40k Imperium magazine. Now, as per usual, if you like these videos, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and of course, drop a comment down below. I love hearing back from you guys and it goes an absolute massive way to help the channel too. Now, this week we are on issue 22 of Imperium magazine and we have the other Skitarii Rangers sprues. So now we have these two sprues joined together and all the bases. We can make all 10 of our Skitarii Rangers, which I intend to do once I finish recording this video, and it'll keep us going for a bit. These are really cool. You will have some extra bits and pieces as well, so do with them as you please, but you can utilise certain pieces as objective markers or even just little bits of scatter terrain if you want to on certain bases later on. Entirely up to you, but really cool stuff, and I'm looking forward to getting going with them. Into the issue itself, we have the Explorator fleets. So, the Adeptus Mechanicus' Explorator fleet search the galaxy for ancient human machinery and equipment lost during the Dark Age of technology. These fleets are heavily armed, for the archaeotech they often seek lies deep within the territory of Xenos foes. And then we have some information about Explorator fleets, including Pentagamma 66Z3, which is hailing from the Forge world of Lucius and has been searching the stars for centuries. Fleet tracing a spherical route around the Forge world, its progress expanding year by year and gradually bringing it to more star systems. The fleet follows command protocols set down by its original commander, Explorator Majoris Erlen Thos Krom. What a name. And these protocols ensure that the fleet rigidly follows his perfect strategy. So really cool stuff. And a bit of information about different fleets. We have some more information on the other page. So we have information about Explorator fleet Ventris Sigmata 91, which is Martian in origin, and this fleet travels its wide arc towards the galaxy's unknown western rim. In addition to the military might of Mars, Ventris Sigmata 91 bears a lance of Imperial Knights from House Krast, and like all Explorator fleets, it lost contact with Mars when the Great Rift yawned wide. Then we also have Explorator Crusade Gents Monopole, which was named after the near mythical device it was launched to recover. And we also have Explorator fleet Megron Cruciatus 5-4-9, which is focused upon recording intelligent species in the Tabran cluster. The Tech Priest Cabal who led the fleet set aside their natural hatred for Xenos in favour of data acquisition. So, a fleet more kind of designed on gathering information about its enemy rather than just destroying it, which is quite interesting to see as well. But really cool stuff, and it's quite nice to see these guys as well, and a bit more information about the Explorator fleet and why they venture out away from their Forge worlds. Then we have information about the Sutek dynasty of the Necron race. So, ruled over by the Theron known as Imhotep the Stormlord from his crown world, Mandragora, the Sutek are one of the most powerful Necron dynasties in the galaxy. The crown world of Sutek dynasty, Mandragora the Golden, is the embodiment of the Sutek themselves. Grim, macabre in appearance, is fortified on a scale that might make the notion of invasion seem laughable. So a very militaristic Necron dynasty here, which are very kind of poised and ready to fight off anything and everyone. We get a bit of information about the Stormlord Imhotep as well, who was once a Nemesaur, a noble servant to the leaders of the Sutek dynasty. The Stormlord himself grew frustrated at his superiors' inability to put aside their personal squabbles and orchestrated a coup that saw him take control of his dynasty. So, pretty cool information, and shows that the Necrons are not above in fighting, which is the main thing about them, which makes them kind of stand out quite heavily from a lot of the other races. They're also a very kind of focused dynasty on territorial expansion as well, so they do like to kind of expand to new worlds and new areas to kind of take control of and fight and defend. Then we have a story called Crimson Doom about the Adeptus Mechanicus and the Necrons coming to blows. Pretty cool stuff. and it's a pretty decent little story as well, involving some of the awesome units that the good old Adeptus Mechanicus get, including the Onager Doom Crawlers and Cataphron Destroyers, which are pretty damn cool, I must admit. I really like them, including the Castellan robots as well, which are really nice, and I genuinely kind of hope to get some of those at some point soon, just because they stand out and they're pretty cool. And then we have our how to paint section. So last issue we had our how to build the Skitarii Rangers. Make sure you read through that, make sure you kind of stick to it, dry fit every model because they will be a pain. They are quite fiddly. You are going to need glue for them no matter what, and it is a case of just kind of going for it really. The way that these guys have gone through their how to paint is actually pretty good. So if you want to go for the same paint scheme that these guys have gone for, having Lead Belcher as your base coat actually works very well. Making sure that you put in down thin coats, and then your thin coats of Corn Red. As per usual, if you've got a palette, use a palette. You can use a ceramic plate or tile if you wish to, which will do exactly the same job. A little bit of clean water, a little bit of paint, goes a long way. Makes a thin coat. You will need to apply it multiple times, but you'll get a very nice look out of it. Going over metallic with a solid colour is actually pretty difficult sometimes though, so if you don't want to do that and you want to do it slightly differently, Mechanica Standard Grey does a good job of being a base coat for all colours. So it's kind of in between everything. So it's not black, which is the main thing, and it is a pretty decent little colour to use as well. Entirely up to you how you want to go about doing it, but that is kind of one of the ways I would do it personally. I will do it with Mechanica Standard Grey just as a base, and then pick out all the details myself instead of kind of layering over like these guys are. But either way, you're going to get a good paint job out of it. The paint job itself, as I say, is pretty good. So you are going to be using quite a lot of stuff. So you're going to be using your Runelord Brass, you are going to be using Agrax Earthshade, as well as a few other colours as well in here. So you'll be using your Corn Red a few times, Screamer Pink, your Corax White, and your Abaddon Black, and you will have a pretty decent looking mini at the end of it, or group of minis should I say. So really cool stuff. So you'll get your Skitarii Ranger with Transranic Equibus, which is a pretty cool looking rifle. These actually do work very well. They're a very good basic colour scheme for your Skitarii Rangers. It's the average colour scheme for most Adeptus Mechanicus. Not one I'm going to go for. I'm going to go slightly differently, but really cool stuff. And it's nice to see them as well. So you've got some really good bits and pieces, but you will get your Skitarii Ranger Alpha in there. You'll get your Ranger with a data tether. You'll have your Galvanic rifles, Plasma Cavalier and Arc Rifle as well, all in here, which is really good stuff. And then you're into your data sheet. So the data sheet for the Adeptus Mechanicus is pretty cool. You will have to make sure that you are keeping a track of your different weapons, because every different weapon has a different range. So for instance, the Phosphater Blast Pistol only has a range of 12 inches, whereas your Transranic Arquebus, which is the main big bulky rifle on the oval base, has a 60-inch range, which is nuts. It's pretty damn cool. But then you also have a melee weapon, which is the Arc Maul, which is the one that your ranger is carrying, which is pretty damn cool. And you also have your different weapons as well, like your Plasma Cavalier, which can be standard or supercharged, for instance, as well, which will have different effects on your battles and how it affects against your enemies, which is the main thing for it. Really cool stuff. Quite interesting as well. Pretty damn good. But yeah, really good stuff. So your data sheet's pretty cool. You will also have your bit more information about the Equibus as well, just on there. And then you have your playthrough. So your playthrough is Hult the Invaders. It is your Necron Warriors going up against your Skitarii Rangers. You'll be using one of your large battle mats, for one that we got last week, and you will have Skitarii on one side, Necrons on the other, and it is, kick the hell out of each other essentially, but really cool stuff. And you can kind of make sure that you're doing your morale and combat attrition tests is one of the main things that you are going to be doing for a lot of this game in this playthrough, and push forward make sure you get some bits and pieces done. Don't forget Necrons can resurrect occasionally and stuff like that, so you may or may not encounter that in your games. And then it is a case of powering through. Enjoy your playthrough, really good stuff. It's a pretty cool one, I must admit. I've had a quick little try of it, and it does work out pretty well. Really good fun. A little bit of something different as well, which is always nice. And then if you want to rematch it, you can swap sides, of course. You can also add more units to it later on as well. So you can, yeah, incorporate it into bigger games and wider games as well if you wish to. You will also find battle plans as well that you can find online from some places as well for different battles if you wish to as well, with your Adeptus Mechanicus going up against the Necrons, where you can incorporate, for instance, your Space Marines, different terrain, and more of your Necron forces as well if you wish. Pretty cool stuff though. And then we move on to what's coming next week. So next week we have our Caneptech Spider, which is a pretty cool looking mini. I'm looking forward to getting this guy and having a bit of a blast with him, just because he's unique. It's a pretty fun looking guy. Not many build options to it, in fact hardly any, just for one. But yeah, really good stuff. And then for week after we get paint. So 2 pots of paint. We get Nuln Oil, and we get Rakkar Flesh. Rakkar Flesh, very handy to have for kind of that kind of pale, unhealthy looking flesh tone. You will be able to use it on more kind of healthy looking flesh tones, like from the helmetless Space Marines, for instance, and so on, and get some really good looks out of it. So it's not all bad, but you know, the cost isn't there for it. But it's one of them things. It's going to happen no matter what. We'll also learn about Tyranids, and we'll also get to play first mission as well, which is pretty cool. So really good stuff. The magazine's going from strength to strength. There will be a lull in issues coming up though, which is going to be a downside to it. But there are some really cool units still to come. Happy days. Right. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you sometime soon. Bye bye now.